Hey everybody, hope you guys doing alright. So I've talked a little bit about this in the past, but I saw some stuff today online that, well, not just today, it was yesterday too, I think, talking about abandonment issues. And I do feel like I've got some abandonment issues. Now, when I'm saying that, like, that word abandoned, like, labeling yourself as something that's been abandoned or someone who's been abandoned, that can be detrimental. I believe that we are where we're at because the choices that we have made. So even though I do feel like I've been abandoned, I have done this to myself. I have a tendency to push things and people too far. I can be too intense. I can also be, it's not that I'm cold about things, but sometimes I just feel so detached emotionally, or just mentally where I'm at, that I'm like, I feel like sometimes like I'm in another dimension, or that's where my thought pattern is. So it's hard for me to relate to people, on a more mundane level, or on just talking about, normal fucking typical, bullshit, because my mind's just like totally somewhere else, dealing with like deep emotions that have no or very little relatability with some of this, small talk or whatever you want to call it. So, but that has an effect. Like, people sense that. Like, when I'm not able to connect with them and talk about just normal shit, I can see how people look at me, or people like me, and they're like, what's going on with this fucking dude? And then that plus, when I do choose to open up and express myself and share with who I am, a lot of times it can be very overwhelming for people, because just the type of person that I am. I have a particular intensity inside myself that's it's intense, it's so, and when I let it out, that intensity is pushed on or put onto those whom are around me. And sometimes I can do it from a place that's more aligned with hate rather than love. And so then, along with that intensity and then the awkwardness of not being able to communicate on normal things, it comes this intense, passion that has a little bit of hate associated with it. Shy, it's okay, babe. My dad's up there, so I take care of it. So anyway, I'm just letting you guys know that I take responsibility and accountability for me being abandoned. And I think this happens sometimes, like especially if you grow up in a situation to where you're not really speaking how you truly feel all the time, and you continue, or you don't continue, but instead you put on a mask that just is more of like a yes man type mask, just a complimentary, just like, I'm just going to go along with the flow to go along with that flow, and not really be me. I'm just going to go along with what seems needed to be in order to go with the flow. That I've done a lot of that, and that really isn't me being, or anybody being their true self. That's just them molding to whatever the moment seems to need in order to flow in that particular way, which isn't always bad, I guess, but I think it's, from what I've learned now, it's good to always be real, always to have an anchor point inside yourself and whatever the fuck you're doing, and to at least let it be known, if you can, to others, that this is how you really feel. And, or if you can't, then at least be aware of the fact that you are participating in something that you don't really totally like feel authentic about, or that you can really relate to on a very deep level, but you're going along with it just to fucking go along with it, which is what we do sometimes. And sometimes you have to do these things, like for work and jobs and other various obligations that one may have, just to help out with the overall flow of everything. But because sometimes being too real about shit, like it can push people off, and there's a time and place for everything. So it's not as much as I would love. I mean, and I think when we move and transcend into a different way of living, people's ability to be their real self all the time is going to grow, and to a point to where that's just how we are all the time. So there won't be this differentiation of people being, essentially their inauthentic self and their authentic self, and the tension that can come from these two forces. To be more of just, I think there's going to be a split in humanity where, essentially people are going to, kind of be inauthentic or just go against the original form of the human being. And then those that embrace the original form of the human being, and love and goodness and all this type of stuff. And they're able to just be that all the time, because that's what that is, and that's where they're at, and that's what's all around them. But anyway, for myself, being aware of these things now. Some of the things I've noticed that helps me counter is this fear of rejection and abandonment, because that's another thing too. But that ties in with the abandonment, because since I have no friends and I feel like part of me feels like I've been left out from, all this friendly and pure and, socialization and all these type of things that a person of my age would most likely normally, have or experience. Part of it is because, I don't want to be rejected again. I don't want to have to go through, getting to know somebody and developing feelings for them and connections with them, and feeling like things are all good and gravy, and then for things just to, fucking suddenly end, and for somebody just to completely shut me out. Like it's just, from when I'm especially when I'm in a weaker state, like that could be something that can, overwhelming. But since I've gotten stronger, mentally, physically, spiritually, all these things, like I find I'm more capable to be okay with rejection and even being on my own. But also not just being on my own. Well, I mean, that is part of it too, but I also feel better about my ability to connect with other human beings and develop new friendships. Cause I have, Joshua, like we just talked again. I gotta make a video because there's something he wants me to share, but we just talked yesterday. He's doing good. He's got a job. He's doing good. And Dustin, I mean, these are all two new people. I mean, me and Dustin haven't talked in a while, but I mean, we walked the streets together. I mean, I stayed with him at his parents' house. Like, it was a pretty deep bond that we developed in a short period of time. So it's like, I need to remind myself that, like, even though stuff hasn't been the best in the past, or some of my, former friends and stuff, like, I have been able to meet new people. And it's important for me to remember that shit, even with the females. Like, if stuff doesn't work out with a particular female, like, it's not the end of the world. Like, that's okay. Like, trying to hold on to something, and this is me talking to myself, because I haven't fully, if I'd fully, really appreciated this in the full way that it could be appreciated, I wouldn't have these rejection fears and all this abandonment issues and all this type of shit. But essentially, if you just logically thinking, like, you shouldn't want to be with somebody who doesn't want to be with you. But there's something in me, and I think other human beings, that we want what we want, and when we can't get what we want, it hurts. And then we also feel like we're not good enough, and like there's something wrong with us, and it's like, oh man, this person I have feelings for doesn't have feelings for me. And it, but essentially you should just be able to look at it and be like, okay, she doesn't want to be with me, that's fine. I'm gonna go find somebody I want to be with. Like, why should I want to continue to focus and, like, put all this energy and essentially be stuck on this one person when they don't even want to be with me? So just logically speaking, it doesn't make sense to really be stuck up like that, but your emotions can get in the way of logic. So it is what it is, and it definitely happens to me from time to time. But again, as I get stronger and more stable and feel better about myself as a man and my situation and what I'm doing and everything, the better I am able to, just be okay with that. And it's like, to let people do what they want to do. If they want to be with this person, that's fine. If they want to be with me, cool. And when I want to be with them, cool. If not, then that's okay too. It's a part of life. Not everything, you don't gotta like everybody. I think it's good to have love and affection and care for everything. That's just my personal belief, but doesn't mean you have to like everything. So yeah, I just wanted to share some words about that. And I really don't hold, there's really only one person that I'm kind of still a little mad at, to be honest. But it's not, it's one of my older guy friends from Phoenix, Arizona. But everybody else, like, I don't carry any animosity or like ill will or like think about things in a bad way, or I'm angry or anything like that. Like, it's, yeah. So I look forward to a good and happy future for everybody involved. Yeah, all right. So I love you guys. Y'all take care. All right, bye.